Hi everyone, Geoff and Klaas here, co-CEOs from Montoux. Today we're going to talk to you about the practical uses of data and actuarial science and how Montoux is using those to create value for our customers. In the Montoux context, what do we use data science for and why is it important to our customers and also to us?
So the reason why we have integrated data science in our solutions is mostly to better integrate how customers, how competitors, and how the market in general influence the financial performance of any life insurance carrier.
Okay.
Because today in a lot of actuarial models, that kind of behavior is assumed to be static and relatively highly simplified, but actually the nuances and understanding those can make a huge difference in what decisions you make.
Those models in their own right, a lot of data science organizations can build, or even an insurer themselves can probably build that, but the way that we view it is that tying that back to the actuarial model is really important because that helps them understand that model in relation to value.
Correct. So the two things that we do differently when you compare us to a consulting organization or an in-house data science team is that we integrate those findings from the data science model, or even directly integrate the data science model with the actuarial model, which means that you get a very clear interaction between customer behavior, distributor behavior, market behavior, and value. So it's that overlap that makes that distinguishes us from a lot of other companies. But the second thing is that we make it easy to use. We productionize. We believe that you have to integrate data science with actuarial and optimization, but also spend a lot of time on what the process is going to look like on an ongoing basis, and not just give people an R script.
Aside from a pure modeling perspective, how do you see the relationship between people that are building data science models, so data scientists, and also actuaries? Do you perceive that that'll be a relationship that'll become a lot more, I guess, symbiotic in the future? And do you see that at Montoux as well?
If they are not sitting together, what often happens is that the data scientists do some research, and one or two things happen, and one is that they are actually answering the wrong question, and the second thing is that they explain their research in a way that the actuaries actually say, sorry, but that doesn't work in my world.
What's our position on actually trying to make those two teams closer together, other than you as an actuary running the data science team? Like, how do you envisage that we'll actually do that and operationalize it?
When we start a new project for a customer, for instance, when we onboard a new customer, we actually create customer-focused teams, where we bring the actuaries and the data scientists and what I call, obviously, our customer success lead and the translator all together. You know, it actually plugs a real curiosity gap for me, because I've always wondered, like, what does a price-demand function look like in life insurance, you know? What are the real reasons why specific type of customers decide to lapse their policies? What is actually the influence of the distribution channels on retention? How does that overlap with value? All of these questions that I never really had access to, because let's face it, as actuaries we're not trained as data scientists. We're pretty clever with spreadsheets and some also with R, but we can't do the same thing as data scientists.
I think pretty clever with spreadsheets is probably an understatement. This comes from someone that can barely start a computer, but what I see actuaries being able to manipulate with spreadsheets is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully you got a really good understanding of actually some of the practical uses of data and actuarial science, and at Montoux how we're using those in Klaas's language to create value for our customers. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.